How the heck are you, everybody? I'm Fastidious. Welcome to my channel and a big warm welcome to Dan Heilman. Great to have you here, buddy.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
Yeah, so we have got something pretty fun planned, right? We are going to talk about, not DPS today, we're talking about our favorite support heroes and probably the best non-legendary support heroes in Watch of Realms. What do you say?
Yeah, sounds great. It was funny because you asked me what's my favorite heroes, and my top three were epics. So
yeah, it's funny because I had the idea. We had something else planned, but I was like, let's do something a little more fun and like of something nice and jovial. And I was like, should we do our favorite support heroes? And you just started listing them, and then you were like, wait, everyone I listed isn't legendary. I was like, all right, then no legendaries. Perfect.
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
Who shall we start with then? Let's get right into it.
all right, I think gotta be my number one is Vortex. Just an insane hero. I got him fairly early on both of my accounts, and he's amazing. He's HP scaling. He has that massive range that is just allows you to basically cover almost the whole map with him, and he has crazy healing, survivability. You just build a little attack speed, all HP on him, and I use him still over a lot of my legendaries. I have every legendary healer besides Desomi and Fersi, and I still go for Vortex probably most of the time.
I could not agree with you more. I love Vortex. I pulled him on my first day, and what a blessing.
Nice.
Yeah, I even just call this the big range you're talking about. When I chat with people, I just call it Vortex range. That's how I think of it.
Yeah.
Basically, like those single target heals, we were just talking about. The reason I had this idea, I was chatting with the Laurel, and I was like, what should I chat about? And he's like, support heroes, because Eunomia is coming. Eunomia might have him be with the power. I mean, she does. The power of those single target heals. But after that, I mean, is there a better single target healer just for the power of the heals? I don't know. They're huge.
You know, it's hilarious. So I was trying to do GR1 21, and I actually struggled with healing the most over damage. My damages were just getting crushed. And I tried Leia, I tried Eloin, I tried Maidan. I think there was maybe even one more legendary healer I tried, and then I ended up going to Vortex, and I ended up beating it with Vortex. You know, you do have to build a lot of attack speed just to allow him to heal often, but he did it for me.
I don't know if my Vortex might be naked right now, unfortunately. Let's see. He's just missing one piece, but people can see, actually, he's missing one piece that probably would have given it about 70, 80 more attack speed. And that, I like to run 500 plus, get that down to like 1.5 second interval, and then I feel like he's just unbeatable.
Yep. I do the same thing. I run almost all of my healers with really high attack speed.
That's actually just tangentially, because we're about to talk about a few healers and some supports. That's like the biggest tip I give people. Like if they don't want to take over, they're just like, hey, can I just have a tip? I'm like, let me see your healers. You know, it's like, oh my God, 150. No. Give me 300 additional. Yeah.
So many people are like, oh, I've seen people in general chat, oh, Vortex, isn't keeping, he's a bad healer, he's not keeping my team alive, and they put the build and it's like 0 attack speed. I'm like, yep, that's exactly why.
There you go. Yeah.
For 10 million, but only once every 20 seconds, your whole team's going to be dead.
Yeah, the frequency is super important. The last thing on Vortex, we don't have to talk as much about other heroes, but with Vortex, how could you not just fawn over him? But I will say, when I like to do my strategy for Gear Aid 2, and I just use Vortex to tank, so I don't even have him healing anyone besides himself, I used to always think it was like 38.5k HP is what you needed. Then I realized if you built him with like a 1.5 second interval, you can get away with like 31k HP. It's crazy. So he's actually, I've gone on counts that never dreamed of beating a 21. I've gone in on 221, and just Vortex can he's amazing. He's so fun.
Yeah.
All right. We talked a lot about him. Should I go and we can talk about someone that we barely need to talk about?
Yeah, sure.
All right, that's going to be Dolores.
That's fine.
Because there's nothing to say, right? He's maybe the best hero in the game.
Best buffer in the game. Don't put attack speed on her as we talk about attack speed, because it doesn't work. Just build full attack, even a little bit of flat attack and the substats, and you're good to go.
Totally. Big shout out to the video. We just filmed right before this video for Dan's channel. I'll have that in the description and the top pin comment. Everybody go check it out. If there's some reason you guys don't subscribe to Dan, definitely go check out his channel. Really, really top tier Watch of Realms content. So check that out. But on the video we just did on your channel, we were talking about things we wanted to see in the game, and you had a great thing about tooltips and how they could make them more descriptive. Dolores is a good example of them actually showing up and doing that, right? Because they added this, I don't know when, 2 or 3 months ago.
Yeah, that was nice. I mean, I built mine with attack speed forever. Didn't really test it because, every hero that didn't benefit from attack speed, they had it in the tooltip, and it said, you know, you don't gain attack interval. So I had her built with attack speed for quite some time before I realized it wasn't doing anything.
I'll be honest, I was pretty indignant about it. I was like, no, you can look at Virna. It says she doesn't benefit from attack speed. It doesn't say that from Dolores. So what are you guys talking about? Until someone's like, you're just wrong. And I went in, me and shout out to Pink Jesus, we went in and we timed it. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm wrong. Totally wrong.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't expect that either.
So yeah, I'll just to wrap it up. She's just so good. She's got the biggest inspiration in the game. Starts at 30%, it goes up to 40. Just make sure she's A1, then it's 60. I mean, she's got pretty low base attack, but once you get Awakenings, it's just over 2,600. You can comfortably build her with over 12,000 attack. Do some math, right? 60% of 12,000 is like 7,200 additional attack to everyone. Enough said.
All right, should we roll into my number 2?
Let's do it. Are these number 2 or just your second? There's no.
I'll rank them.
Okay.
So my number 1 was Vortex. My number 2 is Hollow. I think Hollow. Yeah. She's like very similar to Vortex. A little bit squishier, of course, because she's attack based and not HP based. But the rage regen is really nice, and I'm just a huge fan of big range on healers. You know, Maidan and some of the other healers. I don't like the 3 and the 1 behind also.
No, I don't like it.
I find that one a bit awkward. Yeah. I love the huge range. I use her in Guild Boss. She can basically solo heal Guild Boss with Dolores, and she's just insane for rage regen. So I use her everywhere. I also love the Cultist faction. So Morrigan is my favorite hero in the game and has been for a very long time. So I'm always running Morrigan, usually Reeve, and Hollow.
Reeve, man. I want Reeve so bad. They need to bring his banner back.
I love him. He's so good.
He was added right when I was starting. I'd been playing for like a month, so there was no world where I could do 250 summons. I was 100% free to play. Like I still don't spend, but we both get a ton of diamonds, right? But I was just like, I can't do it, so I didn't even bother. Luckily, I got arrogance, but on the other banner, I totally agree.
I think the girl here gets too much hate. I think Morrigan's quite strong.
I think people just want everybody to be the best. Like, she's still like a top 5 or 6 AoE DPS in the whole game. I don't know where people are getting off that this isn't one of the best Lord skills imaginable. This is better than Denny's. Like, I don't get it. I love her. She's my only legendary Lord. She's the only one after all this time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
okay.
She's got a special place in my heart too.
She was my first, so.
Yeah, she was my first too. And no,
there you go. Nice.
I'll say last thing about Hollow, she's actually like, she's only 4 guild boss. It's just you can't beat her because you're taking that dock damage from the burns he puts out. She's always healing, and then if people get her A1, it's just this is happening. She's so good at it. She's so good at rage regen and guild boss. I love her.
She's one of the only ones who can rage regen while not healing.
True.
During her ultimate, it just rage regens everyone in range, which is quite nice.
I think it's just her for the healers. It's just her and Elwyn.
Elwyn, right?
Yeah, just her and Elwyn. Yeah. Yeah, really cool. Really, really love her. I'm doing tons of guild boss stuff today, so I was using her for hours before this call. So, shall I go to my next now?
Yeah.
So my number 2, I think it's the only one on the list we discussed that isn't a healer. I think people maybe can guess. It's going to be Laurel. I think you probably love Laurel. Everybody loves Laurel, right?
Yep.
But I will say about Laurel, she's famous, world famous, right? For when you get her, you only need her 5 stars. At promo 5, the talent. If she dies or easier, you just pick her up. Everyone in the square is touching her. Like, so the 3 up, 3 down, and right and left. They're all going to get 50% of their rage cap. Awesome. But I really think people sleep on this skill. I love this skill. This is how I beat 321. It was not very strong when I beat 321, but when you skill this up, everyone on the map for a total of, how does it go up to? 9 seconds, which is just crazy, is going to get a 20% damage increase. And when I found out, you probably know this, but maybe some viewers don't, so just a tip, as long as you trigger the ult while she's on the field, you can pick her up after, and the damage increase stays.
Oh, good shot. I was curious about that.
That was the moment it clicked for me, and that was the moment I beat 321, when I was like, all right, so I can do that and then still benefit from the talent. Also, with some stuff, like when I do Gear Aid 1, I leave her on the floor almost the whole time. I only pick her up at the end, because I need as much rage as I can, especially when I did it before Elwyn. This is really good. I really like it. I just like it.
Yeah, I think I'm using her wrong, because I drop her and delete her instantly, usually.
Yeah, I mean, for some content, of course. Like when playing with her in Guild Boss, like, of course, I used this ult for a minute at the beginning, a second. But this is what makes her, like, I think she's obvious S+ tier hero. But I use this, man. I really like it. I even use it to beat the Selene boss on phase cool. the new phase 1. That little extra boost, my Silas can one-shot it because of that. Without it, he can't do it. I bet your Silas probably can, but mine couldn't.
I'm not a fan of the Void Rift, man. I spend so much time in there, and I don't really enjoy it.
I feel you. I will say, I hope they keep adding more phases. Like, I love the new phase 1. I thought it was really hard, and it was challenging and interesting. But I do think it's boring when it's like, oh, Void Rift's different this week because, like, now Ludwig takes 30% less damage or something. It's like, it's such a boring way to make it interesting. But when they add new stuff, like, I loved Crimson Star when they added it. I still like Crimson Star, but yeah, sometimes the buffs, like one of the buffs this week, I'm trying to remember which one it was for, was like, this guy does 30% more damage and takes 30% less. And I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
So who's number 3 on your list, Mr. Heilman?
Number 3 is definitely Maidan.
Okay, cool.
Speaking of Void Rift, she's very essential for Void Rift, just with cleansing poisons and stuff. Again, HP-based healing is just very strong. So you build her basically identically to the way you do Vortex. Lots of HP and some attack speed and some healing, and maybe some rage regen if you want to cleanse more often. But she's just a great healer. You know, the HP scaling healers are just really solid.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I really like that Midon or Maidan. I actually don't know how to say it. Is finally having her, like, people are really acknowledging her, because when I first got her, I've always liked her, and I've always said, this is the kind of hero, don't sleep on her, because they're going to add content, and you're going to need cleanses. And now, like, Healer Codex, like, she's as good as it gets. Especially, not everyone has Eloin, and even if you have Eloin, you need both. So I think she's so good. She's got higher base.
She's the most common in the game, right?
There's like her and Vortex, they're in the top bucket. Yeah, they're the most, at least from we have the rates now, but when I did my study, she was the #1 most common hero, actually.
At least, I remember that. Cool.
When it comes to who people have drawn in reality, not just in probabilities in the stats. I think she's great. She's got really good awakenings too. I really like her A5. Because if you run her with a Lord, she's kind of shielded almost all the time, especially if you run her with your boy Vortex. That's a lot. And this is a multiplicative one. This isn't just like plus 20 heal effect. It's like all her healing is. I really think she's good.
Yeah, right. The Northerner faction is really solid. I mean, especially if you got someone like King Hars, but even with just what's her name? Isolde? Yeah, Isolde. Even with her and Vortex and Maidan, I mean, you're set right there.
Yeah, I'll even say I didn't get Isolde. She was like one of my very last. It took me a really long time, and like 1 week I got filled out all my epic lords. But for a long time I didn't have many of them because I missed it. I joined during the Isolde fusion, so I didn't get her. Dagna still works. Okay. If you run a full, Dagna's not the most exciting hero in the world, but you still get shields. And so many of these units have something where it's like, if they're shielded, then good thing happens. And she still gets the shields out. Excuse me, not heals.
My first Lego Lord on the free-to-play was Hars, and then I had Vortex and I had Maidan, so that was quite nice.
Yeah, this is like the PvE faction. They're so good for all PvE content. I love it. Should we speaking of Dagna and rares, should we wrap it up with probably my favorite hero in the game, full stop, but I'll be number 3 on my list here. My favorite rare, Autumn.
Yeah, really? Okay.
I still use Autumn with some frequency on my account, but when it comes to, I don't even know, I do a lot of takeovers, like a lot. Autumn is like my absolute go-to crutch for everything, especially when you're on someone's account and they're like, I want to push higher content, but I'm gated because I did all these pulls and my gear sucks, right? Autumn, you can skill up in your sleep, but she's a rare hero. When this maxes out, it's not 30%, it's 60% crit damage. And when this maxes out, it's 30% crit rate. So it just completely lowers the thresholds. There's not much more to it. It's actually pretty funny because she has attack-based healing on her basic. Her heals suck, so it's almost like that skill doesn't exist. This only exists for it to trigger and help her build rage regen based off rage regen attack, like we were saying on your video. With this ult, the passive is just when the ult happens, also this happens. So this is just part of the ult. She's really just a one-trick pony, but I love the trick, you know? Yeah, she just makes it way easier to push a lot of content. But it took me I got Dolores in like the day 40s. So I used to run Autumn for every piece of content in the game. Like even in Guild Boss. Yeah.
You know who I used to use instead of Dolores? I used to use Nunea.
Nunea, yeah, cool. Yeah, I did a rares only account where I used Nunea a lot as well.
I didn't get Dolores for quite some time on my free-to-play account, so I used Nunea forever until I was able to get Dolores, because she has inspiration also.
Yeah, I think it's 20 on Nunea. Why can't I find her? I'm lost. Here's Nunea. Good shout for anyone dying of thirst for Dolores. But yeah, Autumn, I just really like, and there's a lot of like I use her in GR 121 all the time and 221. She really can push stuff, and to this day I use her in 321. I think that I do like a diagonal strategy with Dolores here, Autumn here, so they're both touching Idril and then whoever your DPS is, and it's a great way. You can get a lot get a lot of damage with a bad geared Silas if you build him with only 70% crit. You know.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe I'll have to try her out on my free to play. I have not messed with her.
That for your free to play, I would strongly suggest it, because you really can get like a lot of times if you're free to play, if you had bad luck on gear or something, maybe you have this piece has good attack and crit damage but no crit rate. You don't have these optimal substats. She like means you can skip 2 pieces of that not having crit rate subs basically.
Yeah, that's a great point. And you know, a lot of my builds are roughly about 70% crit.
I think we found your new favorite here.
It didn't happen.
You're doing the spicy hands. Let's go.
Yeah.
Scheming. Well, I think that's a great note to end on. Any final thoughts, Dan, or should we wrap up?
No, that's it. It was a fun doing the collab with you.
Totally. Yeah, I think long time coming. I think it's been great getting to know you over the past few months, and it's great to finally have you on the channel. Come back whenever you like. Guys, again, if you don't know Dan for some strange reason, definitely go check him out. Subscribe. Watch our collab on his channel at the very least. Hope to see you guys very soon. Like it, comment, share with your mother. We'll see you in the next one.
Fastidious.